we're doing some new things at King Schools. One of the things is the FAA has changed their approach to the fundamentals of instruction part of the certified flight instructor. And so we are shooting, basically, is it fair to say, a new new FOI, new fundamentals instruction course, basically?
Basically from the ground up.
Right. And the brilliant instructor on it is this guy named Knuttila, and he's having fun at it, and it shows. And it's a subject you kind of have to work at to have fun because it's kind of an academic subject. But we're working hard to make it a fun subject, and I think it's turned out to be a fun subject and as a fun instructor, so that works out well. We're also updating the Reduced Vertical Separation Minimums course, RVSM course.
Which is actually already done and updated.
And we're same way with pro courses. We've updated them. And all of these courses are people who fly airplanes for a living, and they take these courses doing things like going across the North Atlantic, flying in 135 operations. There's a whole bunch of, we have a whole, what's the right word, cadre of courses for professional pilots flying
we do,
135.
Those courses in particular are updated constantly by the FAA through international agreements and so on. So it's a big job for King Schools to keep those up to date. We're doing a very good job of it. The new RVSM course has had a multitude of changes to it and is completely current with all of the regulations that are out there today. We have a new business leader who's also responsible for all of our business courses, and her name is Kim Hansen. And Kim has a wonderful background with King Schools. She is great at going, researching, finding changes, and making them in the courses. So she's updated the RVSM course, also MNPS, our International Operations course. All of those courses are getting renewed and serious attention as we prepare to push them out to the market even more. So you can expect to see more from King Schools on professional courses. And we have a great set of them. We haven't marketed them as much as we should in the past years, but we have a business leader now who's responsible for that market, and she's going to take us into the future, starting with ensuring that every course is fully up to date.
King Schools has 90-some courses. We've gotten ourselves pretty busy. We keep ourselves busy. And a lot of those, virtually all of these courses, because of the FAA regulations, FAA policy changes, need to be continuously updated. And when you take a King course, you get updates in it for life. You have lifetime access to it. And we don't wait until some event happens, like the first of the year, and come up with a new version of it. They're just continuously updated. So if some aspect of a little tiny detail of the course changes, then it gets implemented into the course. Next time the person gets into the course, they get a menu that says, this has changed. Would you like to review the changes now, or would you like to review them later? But we keep them updated on what's changed. One of the courses that's changed recently is the drone course. The FAA has changed the rules on drones for nighttime operation and flights over people. And all of those changes are already in the course. So when people come back to that course, they get those changes automatically. Another thing that's changed is your first flying lesson. Your first flying lesson was originally taught with a very short guy as an instructor, and the person who's instructor now in that course is much taller. And he makes everything fun. He's doing a great job of it.
We're trying to make it a bigger course, John.
And the first flying lesson course we've used, I don't know, a lot of years, and there was nothing wrong with the course except for the short instructor. Technology has changed. We've gone from standard definition video to high definition video, and so to keep it current in the minds of the people taking the course, even though there's nothing changed about it, we reshoot it with taller, better instructor and make it a high definition course. So
your first flying lesson is the course that we consider a great gift to someone who's on the fence about whether they want to learn to fly or not, because it basically takes them through a trip from Montgomery Field in San Diego to Bermuda Dunes in the Palm Springs area and shows them how beautiful it is, how fun it is, how the controls work, an introduction to flying, basically. And Barry, how far along would you say we are on that as far as getting it totally updated?
We're about halfway through it, and we'd be further if the overcast in San Diego would just clear out and give us some nice blue skies, because one thing we're doing is we're really selling the romance of flying and going on a nice trip and so on. And so we're looking for that beautiful San Diego day along the coastline where we can show the beautiful La Jolla Cove and so on as we go up the coast. And we just have scheduled 2 flights, each of which got canceled because of our June gloom, and I don't know what July is called, but June gloom is extending into July
July's
this year.
called
May
hot.
gray, June gloom, and hot.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so we have about, I think, 6 free courses on the King's website.
It's more than that.
Is it more than that?
I think we're up to
10 or 11, isn't it?
Yes, 11 or 12 even maybe.
I'm way off the mark, aren't I?
Yeah.
Okay, and people can just sign up, take those courses for free. They're delivered on our website, and the whole idea, of course, is to make flying accessible to people so that they can, on a whim, take this course and decide whether it's something they would like to do. So your first flying lesson is one of those free courses. That was my point I was trying to make. Okay, and we also have a Part 121 airline pilot course. When pilots go for the airlines and they've been hired, they take their first training in the simulator, and very often they find the terminology is not familiar to them. There's a thing called the script, and the script is if you're a co-pilot and you're in a 2-pilot crew, the co-pilot will say airspeed alive, then 80 knots, then V1, then VR, and the co-pilot's making all of these call-outs, and they have to remember what they're supposed to say at that particular time, because the pilot flying responds to those, and there's kind of a dance that goes back and forth between the first officer and the captain.
The captain orders changes in the aircraft configuration based on that. So if the co-pilot gets stuck and can't remember what to say, then things don't happen when they're supposed to happen.
So a guy we deal with, Joe Munoz, says the biggest reason for new pilot hires at an airline to fail is they get the clutch and they can't remember the script. They can't remember what they're supposed to say and when they're supposed to say it. And therefore, all of the things that should be happening in the cockpit are behind. They're late. They're not doing it on time. And so this Part 121 airline pilot course helps people with the terminology and the script, so when they get in there, they're able to perform right away. And it takes a tremendous amount of pressure off the people, and that's what this course is about. Do you have more intelligent things to say about that?
Well, I don't know about more intelligent, but I can fill in a little bit. We have another slide coming up that has the details on it. But there's the script, but there's also all the things that are completely different in an airline flying environment. There's things like pushback, how that's managed. There's a whole cast of characters that an airline pilot has to work with in order to do the process of moving an airplane from point A to point B. And there's flight planning, there's amendments, there's a whole lot of details. Joe knows those things because he works for an airline, he does airline training, and he's figured out all of the things. He came from a charter background. He's figured out all of the things that were difficult for him in moving from a charter operation flying jets to an airline operation. And there's a lot to it. So this course is really about getting somebody up to speed quickly. So when they first show up on the airline, there's things that the airline just assumes that you're going to know or pick up quickly along the path. And as we all know, it's better to know those things ahead of time, and you'll pick them up quicker. And that's what the course is about, is giving those new airline pilots a jump start on things related to flying, but actually more related to flying in an airline operation.
You know, one of the scariest things about flying that I've had happen to me lately is I was in a 737. I was allowed to be in the jump seat. It was a corporate operation, and they did a pushback. Well, it never occurred to me before, but you can't see what's behind you, and they're pushing you back, and that's
There's the
scary.
rear view mirror.
Yeah, that's scary as hell. And so there's lots of little things that are just completely unfamiliar to you, and that was one that just really scared me. All right, well, we're going to go on to the next
Let me
slide.
mention just briefly, if you are already on John Dowd, our VP Marketing's mailing list, you'll all get pictures and press releases about this at the end of the press conference. If you are not on his mailing list, just go up to him and give him a card. He's right behind the center camera back there, and give him a card or give him your email address, and he'll make sure that you get all of that.
Martha, there's only 2 cameras. How can one be a center camera?
Well, it's centered in the window.
Oh, okay. All right, next we want to talk about the Flashcard app. This tall, good-looking instructor, Barry Knuttila, is also CEO of King Schools, and he has been a champion of a concept, and that is that he felt that we need to provide a better program to make sure that people can study after they've taken our video course. And we call it, we'll talk about it in just a minute, VIP learning, because it's video instruction, interactive questions, and proactive practice and recall is the P. And so part of that VIP learning is a flashcard app, which just serves up flashcards. And Barry will demonstrate that, I believe, in just a minute. But you can use your mobile device. So you're doing this, aren't you?
No, I'm happy to have you do it, John.
No, Barry's the champion of it, so let's let Barry talk about it.
I want to just put one word in here while I'm remembering it, and that is that the issue is not people passing, because they do, and we already have a money-back guarantee if they do not pass their knowledge test or their check ride. The point is, people today want higher scores than they used to, particularly if they're headed for flying as a career. And this flashcard app is one of the steps that we've taken to help make sure that people do way more than pass, that people get really high scores.
That's right, Martha, and that's absolutely true. We've guaranteed pass. We've had 99% of our students pass their written exams forever. What we're seeing is that, especially among the young airline aspirants, they don't just want to pass. They want to pass with a high 90s score and maybe even a perfect score. So we've taken a look at our learning process, and we've updated it, as John said, and we'll have a slide that John will talk to you about VIP learning. But one element of it, and this is a new element and why we wanted to talk about it today, is having a flashcard app. And the flashcard app is all about drill and practice for FAA-style questions, just to make sure it puts the final polish. You've been through all of the King Schools videos, you've learned what you needed to learn, and now the focus is on getting that high score. And that means getting really familiar with the way questions are asked, the distractors that the FAA includes, so that you can easily discern a good answer or the best answer for each question. So that's what the mobile device is all about. And it is a mobile device that works on iOS, so iPhone, iPad, as well as Android devices. And that's new for King Schools. And in fact, this is a new application that demonstrates a brand new technology platform that we're going to use into the future to ensure that all of our mobile courses are available both on iOS, Apple devices, as well as Android. So we're going to be going back and updating some of our other mobile devices with that technology as well. So the important thing is that it's downloadable for free. When you open it up, you just log into your same account that you use to access your training on the web, and it's free to use.
What are you doing, Martha?
Well, John, I'm using the King Schools Flashcard app. It's brand new, and I really like it.
What do you like so much about it, Martha?
Well, John, as you know, people who take King FAA exam courses have lifetime access to their courses. The Flashcard app connects with every course you have and downloads flashcards for each one.
You can see just about anywhere you are. If you have a few minutes, you can pull up this app and flip through a few questions and refresh your knowledge or ensure that you're ready for that knowledge test.
Martha wanted me to point out that if you want to learn something and cement that learning, the best way to do it is practice recalling it. And that's the value of this, is that the learning pilot is going to be practicing the recall, so when it comes time to take a test, they've practiced the recall and they've learned it, and it's cemented.
Okay, so that's the Flashcard app. And John, you may want to talk a little bit about the King study method.
Okay, the King study method is another thing that Barry has been championing. And what he wants to say is we need to help people, we need to give people a method at which they're going to get the best results. Rather than letting them get the results by random, we need to give them guidance on getting the best results. And that guidance is what we call VIP learning. And the VIP learning says you first take the video instruction that comes into about 15 minutes or 10 to 15 minute segments. So you watch the video instruction, and that's kind of personal instruction. The instructors are talking to you personally, looking you in the eye, pointing things out. And then you take the interactive questions, which is sample FAA questions. Did I use the right word, sample? Is that the correct word? And you take those questions. They come with answers and explanations that you can drill on. And then practice and recall. And that's VIP learning. And the practice and recall includes the Flashcard app. And then, Barry, are we going to go over the rest of the practice and recall? Or
No,
we're not going to.
That's pretty much it. The Flashcard app is the new component to the King study method. Yeah.
But so what we're saying here is Barry has been championing, let's give them some suggestions, let's give them guidance, let's not let them do it by random. And so VIP learning is the guidance that we're offering to do this.
And the King study method gives them a prescription, essentially, to get a high score on their test. They can go through our course any way they like, but we recommend that they follow that VIP learning, watching the video instruction, taking the questions after each lesson, and then going through and doing the test prep, which is question review, which is assisted by the new Flashcard app in order to ensure that they get a high score. If you follow those 3 steps, you don't really need any other test prep in order to get through and get a high score on your test. We have very large question databases, and now we have a very good prescription on how to go through those questions in order to ensure that you have that recall when you show up to take your written exam.
Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is the Part 121 Airline Pilot Operations course. The instructor on that course is Joe Munoz. He is a simulator instructor for the airlines.
And an airline pilot.
And an airline pilot. And what he says is many times a new hire will show up for a simulator session completely unprepared. He doesn't know the aircraft, doesn't know the script for the aircraft, doesn't know the terminology. And he says it's sad for him to see someone show up unprepared. And this is the preparation that he would like to see his applicants have when they show up at the simulator for their first showing up for the job in their first training. And he says that when an applicant or a candidate, or actually a new hire, shows up unprepared, it's like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute and hoping someone else jumps out at the same time and hugs you on the way down. And everybody is trying to help this guy be successful, but they're not prepared, and it just makes it very difficult. So this is that preparation. So the course covers terminology, key personnel, amendments, flight plan review, alternates, briefing a chart, inoperative equipment, pushback sequence. There's more. Wait, there's more. Cessna pilot training system. Let's see. Whoa, this is a different. This is a different. Excuse me.
There's more.
Okay. So did you want to talk about more about the?
I think you covered it well, John. I think the real sticker on this one is that there's a lot of new airline pilots that show up and are expected to pick things up along the way. there's a lot of training that's done in the sim and figuring out procedures for flying the airplane, not so much on everything that surrounds that in terms of being an airline pilot. As I mentioned before, somebody can show up from a corporate background, learn to fly the airplane well, learn the procedures, learn the script, but there's all the stuff that happens around it before you push back and then after you pull up to the gate. And this is what fills in all of that. It fills you in on who are the cast of characters that you have to deal with as an airline pilot, and how do you deal with them, what are the documents that flow back and forth, and so on. So it's all of those procedure, operational things that airline pilots, experienced airline pilots, I'm told, wish they had known before they showed up. It would have made their initial flights much, much easier on the airline. So that's what we're trying to do, is fill that gap. And as you know, and actually this leads into the next slide, how many people here believe that we are about to enter another pilot shortage of extreme proportions? I believe that. And everything that you hear from very reputable sources, from the airlines themselves and so on, say that that's where we're going. And so obviously this course is one of the things that we would like to contribute in order to help those pilots have an easy entry into the airlines. The next thing that we're doing, did I skip over one? Oh, there it is. The next thing that we're doing, which is also along those lines, is we have developed a new program at King Schools that's specifically targeted at colleges and universities and helping them either stand up a new aviation program or switch curriculums on a program that they have. And the curriculum that we're talking about is the Cessna pilot training curriculum. And we have Chris Crow here and Lindsay Ulfig from Cessna, who we work with very closely, and ensuring that we have courses that take a pilot from private pilot now all the way through CFI with 141 approvable curriculum. What we haven't had is all of the tools and everything that wraps around that curriculum in order to make it work in a college environment. And we have some colleges that are using the course, and they've built a lot of those pieces. And we looked at it and said, well, why don't we build them ahead of time so that a new program can take all of the pieces that we have, apply them, create a new program. And those pieces include things like a customizable semester planner where you can just lay out in an Excel spreadsheet exactly your plan. We have a suggested plan that's adjustable very easily depending on your particular semester as a college or university. And with a few tweaks, you can already have a plan for a brand new private pilot course at a college or university. And we're very proud of that. It's turnkey solutions. So the customizable materials that are include classroom presentations that an instructor can use in order to teach their programs. We have student workbooks. We have home study assignments and flying preview videos that all fit together in order to make the college curriculum work. And we're very proud of this. We've started a new area and assigned a person as a business leader to take this into the market, and that's Pamela Olson, who's here in the back of the room. So if you have questions after the presentation, please go up to Pamela and ask her. She's the one most familiar with the program. Her mission is to listen to colleges and universities, listen to their needs, bring them back to King Schools, and build a curriculum that will work for them and is flexible enough when she listens to 5 or 10 or 15 colleges, as she has done, and gets little different requirements. She's building in that flexibility so that the curriculum's adaptable to different environments. And she has hired Eric Taylor, who's also back here. And Eric Taylor is an extremely experienced flight instructor and college professor. He was the director of the aviation program at Valparaiso University. He's a master flight instructor, has been a corporate pilot in the past, has flown jets in corporate operations, and he's providing the rocket fuel for Pamela to take into the colleges and universities and just doing a wonderful job of it. And the other thing that's great about it is that the Cessna system has already great integration and great penetration into the flight school market, and it provides online tools in order to track student progress. Well, those online tools work together with the college and university program. So if a new college or a college is starting a new aviation program, they can have all the tools to set up the classroom environment, but if they're not going to provide their own flight training, they can partner with an existing flight school and use these the Cessna flight training system and have this integration, this wonderful synergy between the classroom environment and the flight training at the flight school, and be able to pull that all together into a program. So we're very proud of this. Martha, did you have some comments?
Nothing to add on that. I think you've done a great job. Are you ready for me to talk about scholarships?
I am. Let's move on to scholarships.
Okay. Our scholarship program at King Schools is for flight instructors because basically, and I'm going to put Bob Mader on the spot and say, Bob, where have all the flight instructors gone?
They've been hired.
They've gone to airlines, everyone. Well, call back from the 60s, but obviously not everyone, but there's a lot of flight instructors that work as instructors until they get the number of hours needed for being hired by the airlines, and then they move on, which means we need a constant regrowth or reinvigoration of our flight instructor community in order to train the new pilots that the airlines are going to need, not all of whom are going to want to go the flight instructor route. So our scholarship program is focused on flight instructors. We have a program with NAFI. We've worked with Bob Mader and NAFI for 5 years running now. And we also have a scholarship through Women in Aviation for the Martha King Scholarship for female flight instructors, 6 years running now. And each of the scholarships is valued at $18,000. That includes $5,000 in cash for either a current instructor to add additional instructor ratings, or someone who currently has a commercial and instrument rating to add a flight instructor rating, initial flight instructor rating to their certificates. That also includes the entire library of King courses, and as we said earlier, we have about 90 of those, including ones that are in the professional and turbine market, and free flight instructor refresher courses for life. So last year was kind of a wipeout in terms of people having their day in the sun. So I would like Bob Mader and our 2020 winner, Nobi, to stand and come up and be recognized for the 2020 NAFI Flight Instructor Scholarship. So Nobi, why don't you tell the people here just a little bit about what you've done with the scholarship and where you are in your flying now.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to the King Schools and Bob Nader. They've really welcomed me into their ohana, which is family. And, we email each other and, we send, little tiny gifts back and forth, but it's so refreshing, and it's a confidence booster to know that you have, the entourage and the support, because we always need it. But thanks to the generous scholarship, I was able to get my CFI in April. It took me a long time because of COVID. Training was slowed down, but I think because of COVID, the little blessing was I had a whole year to really study the material and review and really get to know, the King School program. But I can't thank you enough. It's that warm, fuzzy feeling that it's really hard to build, but these folks really managed to make that magic happen. Can't thank you enough. sorry. I'm out of Honolulu, so I fly out of Honolulu. But I did my CFI training in Minnesota. So I do like to mix things up. I did my my commercial multi in Las Vegas. So instead of staying in that Honolulu bubble where you're only flying out of Class Bravo, I think it's so important to step out of your comfort zone. And I'm trying to encourage my mentees to step out of Bravo. I mean, it's great to fly out of Bravo, but it's a whole new world. And you better know what you're doing so you can stay safe. So,
See, for the rest of us, everybody's worried about getting into Bravo. You're trying to get them out of Bravo.
John Dowd, can you get a photo with Bob and Nobi and John and I and Barry
I don't
here?
know that Bob, Martha made it clear. Bob is a long time chairman of the National National Association of Flight Instructors. I can do this. I'm supposed to come around. While they're setting up for this, I want to say that there's one of the beneficiaries, the real beneficiaries of this are the people who pick and talk with flight instructors who win the scholarships. I'll stop for a picture anytime. And the thing is this lets us meet extraordinary people, because to become a flight instructor takes a lot of commitment over a long period of time, and they're just wonderful people. And so we're the winners.
It's inspirational.
Here. It's inspirational to us. And we go through a list of flight instructors and review them and talk to them. It's just inspirational. Bob, you wanted to say something important.
Just very briefly, two things. And they're both, I echo everything that John and Martha and Barry have said about this. Nobi said two things, and I'll get the humorous one out of the way first. Because she's trying to get out of the Bravo. People who learn at towered airports hate non-towered. People who learn at non-towered hate towered. It's just a truism in flight instruction. It's absolutely true. But she said something more important and very fundamental. She used the word family. I cannot pronounce Ohana. Okay. Aviation's a family. And it's really great to bring new instructors along who will pass on what we hope we've learned, what we hope the message is, and we bring in new friends. Think about this. Look at all the excitement that happened here to come, just be able to come back to this show and see each other again. So that is really key right there. I call my students my kids. It's not a pejorative, but they're mine from the day that I have them, and you're going to find the same thing.
Bob, everybody's young enough to be your kid.
Burn.
Thank you very much. Nobi?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations, CFI.
So it's a lot of work to be a CFI. It's a lot of work to become a CFI.
It is a lot of work.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Nobi has all the characteristics that made her successful to become a CFI and to be a CFI in the future. We're looking forward to keep up with your future plans, progress, successes. And that's one of the wonderful things about having these scholarship winners is really just tracking their progress over time. And they're all just wonderful people doing great things for aviation.
Our second scholarship, as I said earlier, is working with women in aviation international, and it's the Martha King Scholarship for Female Flight Instructors, and that's our longest running one at 6 years. And our winner for 2021 is also here with us, Sarah Tamar. Where are you, Sarah? You want to come on up?
Now, you can tell, obviously, by looking at Sarah what she does for a living. It's just real obvious. She's a turbine professional float plane pilot who carries people on and off of the East River and
That's in New York, for those of you West Coasters.
So doesn't she look like a turbine professional float plane pilot?
And a caravan on floats, and that's just a fabulous thing. And was our representative from WAI able to make it? Well, I'm going to pull a dirty, and Peggy, I'm going to ask you to come up because you're the one that really started the scholarship program. Peggy Chabrian, the previous
Well, the
president,
founder of WAI. is
founder
Peggy Chabrian.
and previous president of WAI,
And Peggy started their scholarship program. You're just getting started, I think, pretty well. How many dollars in scholarships has WAI given over the years?
We gave out the first one in 1996 for $500. Cumulatively awarded over $14 million to over 1,500 scholarship recipients.
So did I hear that right? $14
$14 million.
$14 million.
And the scholarships, my scholarship is open for females who want to either get an initial CFI or add a rating to their CFI, but a lot of the WAA scholarships are open to any member, right?
Correct. Anyone can participate. Someone just wanting to learn to fly can get a private pilot scholarship up through and including type ratings or.
He's a looming presence. So what's the most expensive type rating or hard to get when you think that?
Oh gosh, different airlines have over the years given us type ratings. $30,000, I guess, was probably the highest one.
For you have any 747 type ratings?
Oh yeah, a quick story.
Yes.
Okay, all right. In 1996, I said we gave out the $500 scholarship, and we somebody in the audience said from Northwest Airlines, "Hey, this is really great. You're starting this new organization and a scholarship program. We want to help." And I thought, wow, maybe they'll give us another $500, or if we're really lucky, $1,000. And they said, no. We're talking a type rating. Oh. So we announced the type rating, put some information and got the applications coming in. Well, at the luncheon that year at the conference in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a vice president for Northwest Airlines, and this is kind of interesting, he was about your height. He came up to the podium, he announced the winner's name. She was sitting in the back of the room at the luncheon. She came running up to the podium, jumped up on the stand, gave him a hug, and now the scholarship was for any airplane in their fleet. So he looked at her and he said, "Well, young lady, you've won the scholarship. What airplane do you want it in?" Came right back, 747. So that, but that was back in the 80s. So at that time, it was worth about $25,000 to $30,000. So
yeah, that's fabulous.
So just as you can't tell what a float plane pilot looks like, you also would never figure out by looking at her in the street that this person was an entrepreneur that started an organization that's inspired so many people.
You're talking about Peggy now.
I am. We'll figure it out when I get done. And made available $14 million worth of scholarships, and that's just a small part of what she's done.
Thank you. And thank you for being a part of it. Thank you.
And now let's...
Take a picture real quick.
Oh, okay. Let's take a picture.
All right.
You don't like where I'm standing, right?
Okay.
But I'd also like to give Sarah some time to talk about what she's done, where she is in her flying, and what her aviation journey's been like and what she sees for her future.
Cool. Sure. Well, first, thank you so much, guys. It's so good to be here. It's my first Oshkosh, so this is doubly exciting for me. Thanks.
What a great year to be your first year.
Oh, yeah. I came in kind of without any expectations of what it would be like because I've heard a lot of stories, and obviously I've been wanting to come for many years, but it's exceeded all the non-expectations that I had to the max. It's been amazing. And it's so good to be here with you guys. You guys are legends, and it's just a complete honor.
What are you doing after this meeting?
I'm flying back to New York and then waking up at 4 a.m. to fly caravan. No days off.
Now, aren't you doing a Ford Tri-Motor?
Oh, I actually already came from there. I just
You just came from
yeah,
there.
yeah. That's why I was a little late to the conference. But so I was just up in the Ford Tri-Motor in the right seat. I got to log 0.1 time. Yeah, ridiculous.
Congratulations.
So cool. Thank you.
You didn't land it in water, did you?
No, they didn't let me. We did fly over the seaplane base, though. But yeah, this is amazing. I think just with this coupled, the scholarship plus being here for the first time, the momentum I feel is enormous. It makes me want to go forward, and I'm not a CFI yet. I have plans to do it after seaplane season's done. We're really busy, so I have to wait till we slow down a little bit. But the momentum I feel being here, being with you guys, meeting you, meeting people all this whole week, and the scholarship makes me want to just go out there and get my CFI and start giving back to others, which is a big goal of mine. So.
Well, everybody likes to use the word inflection point. I don't know what it means, but I hope this is an inflection point for you.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's one of the best. Very good. Yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You wanted to shake hands, didn't you?
So these are just two of the just tremendous people that we've had the opportunity to meet through the scholarship program and hopefully been able to give a little bit of extra boost to their careers and connection to King Schools and connection to all of you through King Schools. We didn't, unfortunately, some of the other recent winners were not able to attend. Allan Reenders was our scholarship winner this year, excuse me, for NAFI. And we introduced him at Sun and Fun. Some of you may have been there. He attended Sun and Fun, and also another just exceptional scholarship winner. So anything else on the scholarships?
No, I think we done good.
Okay, good.
Oh, applications.
Oh,
The
yes.
NAFI applications for the 2022 scholarship open today, and it'll be awarded at Sun and Fun next year. And the WAI applications will be awarded, or scholarship will be awarded at the WAA conference next year, and that's open right now.
Martha, where do they go to find out how they apply?
They can go to the King Schools website, John.
Thank you, Martha.
And I believe the URL is kingschools.com/scholarships. Is that right, John? Okay, good. That should be in press releases you'll receive as well.
For obvious reasons, we try not to stand behind a podium. That's why Martha's been directing me to move here, move there.
Okay, so just to close up, we've covered all the topics that will be included in the press releases you'll receive, but just wanted to give you a very brief look at what's going on at King Schools in the future and what you'll be hearing about in future press conferences. The first one is we had a little bit of a problem during COVID to shoot a lot of in-flight footage. We purchased a brand new Cessna 172, which is all ready to go. So we were able to spend the year figuring out how to rig that thing to give the most camera angles and the most intimate instruction that we possibly could, including how the cameras are mounted, the angles. So we've done a lot of testing. Getting up into there was tough with having to have other people in the cockpit in very close proximity. But we are doing that now. As we mentioned, we started filming the Your First Flying Lesson free course, but that's really just the very tip of the iceberg because we've brought together a team now that's ready to go on filming a lot more in-flight instruction. And we figured out how to use a lot of external camera mounts using smaller cameras than we've used in the past, 8 different cameras mounted on the airplane when we shoot, all that footage going into the edit bay when we get back in order to pick all the right angles that best demonstrate the teaching principles that we're doing in the air. So one thing that you'll see from King Schools is more shooting of in-flight footage, starting with the Cessna courses where we have in-flight previews of each flying lesson that the students show up for. And we find that to just be the biggest boost in flight training. When a student shows up prepared and they've seen it before, and John often uses an example that he heard from a flight instructor that was just so amazed because they got somebody that had taken one of the Cessna courses, and they showed up, and then flight instructor, very first lesson, flight instructor told them to go ahead and make a right turn. And before they started that right turn, they lifted the right wing, looked to the right, cleared the area, and then started the right turn, without the instructor ever having to teach that principle. And that's what the flying previews do for you. Having seen a maneuver performed in a way that teaches and simplifies and clarifies the maneuver ahead of time really cuts down on the amount of time that it takes them to learn the maneuver. So that's a big thing.
It also makes it a lot more fun and less stressful.
Exactly. And keeping stress down in the training environment is really one of the biggest things that we can all think about as experienced aviators and flight instructors, because as we all know, the dropout rate is just way, way too high for pilots that are starting flight training and never even make it to their possibly their first solo. And a lot of that, the reason for dropout, probably the biggest one, is just stress induced by either not understanding what's happening, not feeling like they have good coaching and guidance, feeling like they can't accomplish the goal. And so this is one of those things that reduces that stress and hopefully gives people the confidence to go on and be successful. So other areas that you'll see from King Schools in the future include, as we've talked about, lots of course updates, HD updates of all of our courses. We finished complete HD reshoots of the private, instrument, and commercial courses. We're starting the CFI again. And when you have 90 courses, it's one of those constant processes. You get to the end of it and you just start right back at the beginning again. So we're continuing that process. We're picking up some speed on it, which is great. Professional course focus that we talked about, a focus on colleges, universities, and flight schools with Pamela and her team, and then just overall accelerated content and course creation. We have a wonderful course creation department that's staffed by about 15 individuals, that most of which are very experienced flight instructors. They are, some of them, past ATC controllers and aircraft owners and so on. And these people are really into their jobs. They love teaching, and we're looking forward to accelerate our course development. What am I missing on
I don't
what's
think
coming?
you're missing anything.
Let's just see who has questions from the audience that they'd like us to, that they would like Barry to answer.
Does anybody want to argue with something Martha might have said?
Questions, thoughts, suggestions?
Okay, well, if they, in the back.
We're doing them continuously. There's a whole bunch of in-flight lessons in the Cessna courses, and we're just continuously shooting.
Here's the wonderful thing about having an online course. We can update the courses that we have, and we have a system to do that at any time. And when our customers come back to the course, they get a notification that says new updates have been applied, and they get a little red circle next to the lesson that got the updates. So as we shoot and edit and prepare and improve a new in-flight video preview, we can just put it right out into the course. So you'll just see them starting in the next month or so. As we start rolling through those, you'll just see them starting to come into the Cessna courses as they're completed.
And you're giving me an opportunity to make a sales point. There are two sales points that this prompts. One is when you buy a King course, you have lifetime access to it. And then another sales point is one of our guarantees that we keep it up to date. So we're continuously changing lessons in all of our courses all the time. And we don't have a 2020 course or 2022 or 2023. They're just continuously up to date. So the philosophy is anytime anything changes, we just update it.
And again, John Dowd, would you put your hand up? John is our VP Marketing. If you're not on his mailing list, give him a card or your email address, and we'll make sure you get the press releases and pictures from this. If you did get an invite to this, you're already on our list, and you'll automatically get all of that shortly after the press conference ends.
Thank you all for coming.